Once again, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the seventh week of our free FSBP compliance familiarization training. I'm Laura Lee from the Customer Success Team at Consultor Inc. Group. Last week, we covered the 1.506 Supplier Verification Activities Program. Today, we'll be focusing on the 1.507 Import Food Hazard Program, 21 CFR Part 1 Subpart L, as outlined under the Foreign Supplier Verification Program or FSBP for food importers. This requirement is critical because it ensures that importers have a clear, documented process for identifying and evaluating known or a reasonably foreseeable hazard associated with the food they bring into the United States. By understanding these hazards, whether biological, chemical, or physical, your organization can implement appropriate preventive control and verification measure that safeguard public health. Implementing this program strengthens your compliance posture and minimize regulatory risk. It also enhances your organization's ability to ensure that foreign supplied products consistently meet U.S. safety standards. Ultimately, understanding and applying the Import Food Hazard Program supports proactive risk management, increases confidence and supplier performance, and promotes a safer food supply chain for consumer. By the way, this free training session is sponsored by Consultor Inc. Group, a compliance company. Consultor Inc. Group is a registered U.S. government vendor specializing in compliance management, regulatory documentation, quality systems, cybersecurity, and digital transformation support. We began by assisting businesses with U.S. import and export compliance and have since evolved into a global provider of food safety, quality, and certification support. Today, our services revolve around compliance management software, specialized training, and end-to-end support services that help organizations achieve and maintain compliance with international standards. Through our platform interlinkiq.com, we offer an integrated compliance management system that streamlines documentation, monitoring, and audit readiness. We also provide dedicated compliance and certification support programs for FSBP, PCQI, SQF, BRCGS, FSSC 22000, QMS or ISO 9001, GMP, and HACCP, helping businesses strengthen their regulatory compliance, enhance operational efficiency, and ensure alignment with global food safety and quality management standards. Let's go over to our training schedule. This week, we'll focus on the Import Food Hazard Program outlined in 21 CFR, Part 1, Subpart L, Section 1.507. In today's session, we will begin by familiarizing ourselves with the FSBP 1.507 Import Food Hazard Program, starting with an overview of the requirements and a walkthrough of the compliance action activities performed on a regular schedule to maintain certification readiness. We'll also discuss the annual review and internal audit activities, which help verify program effectiveness and drive continuous improvement. You're encouraged to ask questions in the chat box, which we'll address in next week's session. Participant may also request a free 90-day trial of our FSBP compliance management software to help manage compliance tasks, assign accountability, and stay audit ready. Finally, all participants will receive a familiarization training certificate. Please ensure you've completed the free certification familiarization training sign-up form shared in the chat box. On the screen, you will see the sample of the familiarization certificate you'll receive upon completing each session. Certificates are issued every Friday and Monday So please allow our team more time to process them. With that, let's move forward to our training session where we'll be working directly with the FSBP Compliance Management System software. Let's start by going over the description of the FSBP Section 1.507 Import Food Hazard Program. Please take a look at the description on the screen. So it says importers must establish a risk-based verification scheduled for each foreign supplier to ensure they consistently controlled hazard that require preventive measure. They must document and justify what verification activities are required, how often they will occur, the rationale for both activity and frequency. This ensure verification efforts align with the food's public health risk and supplier reliability. One is the responsibility and oversight. The importer determines the type and frequency of verification activities. Decision must be made or reviewed by a qualified individual. All determination must be signed, dated, and documented. Importers remain accountable even if third parties perform the activities. Second is the key factor in determining activities and frequency. For the hazard characteristic, type and nature of the hazard, severity of potential illness or injury, likelihood of occurrence without controls. For supplier controls, whether the supplier directly controls the hazard, reliability and effectiveness of preventive controls, certifications. For supplier performance history, compliance with FDA or foreign standards, prior audit or inspection outcomes, recalls, import alerts, warning letters, responsiveness to past corrective action. For additional consideration, country food safety equivalence, volume and frequency of imports, transportation, storage, and distribution risk, and intended use. Third is the risk-based verification frequency. To summarize the risk-based verification frequency, frequency must be based on product risk rather than arbitrary schedule. High-risk foods typically require annual audits or per shipment testing. Moderate risk foods may be verified every 1 to 2 years, and low risk items often needs reviews every 2 to 3 years or when suppliers change. Each individual must be supported by written rationale showing how it adequately controls the identified risk. Four is the reevaluation and adjustment. Frequency and activity type must be reevaluated when new safety information arises, after supplier changes, when non-compliance or deviation occur, at least every 3 years. If supplier performance improves over time, frequency may be reduced with justification documented. Fifth is the documentation and record keeping. Importers must retain records showing factors considered in activity and frequency decisions, written justification for the verification plan, QI signature in date, revision following reevaluation. For retention requirement, minimum 2 years. Records must be available to FDA upon request. Sixth is the program objective summary. Now to summarize the program objective summary, the program ensure verification activities are chosen and performed based on risk. Importers must assess product and supplier hazard, select verification step that match the severity of those risks, and set justified risk-based frequency. These decisions must be documented, regularly reviewed, and updated as new information or supplier performance changes. All records must be maintained with clear rationale and proper approvals. Seven is the practical implementation tip. Many importers maintain a verification activity and frequency determination log, including supplier name and product category, identified hazard and risk rating, chosen verification activity, justification for activity and frequency, QI signature and review date. This log serves as traceable evidence of risk-based planning for FDA audits and third-party inspection. You may edit or update as needed to reflect any revision for the FSBP requirements. To implement this program, we have created a list of action items in the compliance tab. So this section helps the importer or the designated FSBP qualified individual stay organized by scheduling tasks according to frequency, whether it's daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, or semi-annual. Here are some of the example of your compliance action item or the task you need to perform. For the daily action item, review for any new risk triggers, verify that incoming shipments belonging to high-risk suppliers have the required verification activity completed, and for the weekly action item, update the verification activity and frequency determination log if new supplier or products are onboarded. Check if any scheduled verification activity is due in the current or next week. Follow up with the suppliers or third parties for pending verification outputs. Document any new information affecting risk profile. And for quarterly action item, review supplier performance against risk. Confirm that chosen frequency are still aligned with controls and performance. Validate that all QI sign determination remain current and retrievable. Check transition for moderate risk suppliers due for annual or biannual activities, and review changes in certifications, ownership, process, facility changes, country risk, or regulatory climate. For biannual action item, conduct a formal verification frequency justification review for high and moderate risk supplier to ensure rationale still holds. Evaluate if any frequency should be increased or decreased based on actual performance and new evidence. Review consistency between 1.505 supplier evaluation outputs and 1.507 frequency decisions. And lastly is to validate traceability of decision. Every determination has signed, dated rationale tied to hazard characteristic, supplier control, capability, supplier history, external risk signals. So basically, these serve as a checklist of compliance activities that the importer or the FSBP QI needs to perform. You can either add your own compliance action items, or we can preload all required activities for you to perform. To complete these activities, we provided corresponding work instruction and compliance activities in the instructions and evidence section, along with the required artifacts or records to document completion. For example, to complete the action item which states review for any new risk triggers. Let's view the work instruction to complete this activity. Now, step one is to establish risk monitoring and review process. For the activity, develop and implement a documented process to monitor and review sources that may identify new risk triggers affecting product safety, legality, and quality. This includes regulatory alerts, recalls, supplier notifications, and shipment incident. Assign responsibility to QA or FSQA personnel to review, record, and assess findings. For the artifacts, food safety and quality risk monitoring, procedure or work instruction, list of monitoring sources, responsibility matrix identifying assigned personnel, approve risk trigger review checklist or log template. Second is to conduct regular reviews for new risk triggers. For the activity, perform weekly or scheduled reviews of relevant sources such as FDA import alerts, recall databases, supplier emails, and industry bulletins. Identify any new or emerging risks that could impact ingredients, materials, or finished products. Document findings and assess the significance of each identified trigger using a standardized risk assessment form. For the records, completed risk trigger log, supporting screenshots or copies of FDA or industry alerts reviewed, supplier communication related to products or process changes, risk assessment form showing evaluation results and decisions. Step 3 is to evaluate and communicate identify risk. For the activity, for any identify risk trigger, conduct a preliminary assessment and if necessary, escalate to the food safety team for further review. Communicate relevant findings to procurement, production, and management to ensure timely preventive or corrective action. For the artifacts, risk assessment or HACCP review record indicating evaluation outcome, meeting minutes or email communication documenting notification to stakeholders, corrective action report, or preventive action record for initiated responses, verification or follow-up logs confirming completion of required action. Step 4 is to verify and review process effectiveness. For the activity, QA or FSQA manager verifies that reviews are performed on scheduled and records are complete. Summary of identified risk triggers and responses is included in quarterly food safety or management review meetings to ensure continuous improvement and senior management oversight. For the artifacts or records, verification checklist or sign-off sheet confirming review completion, internal audit reports verifying compliance with review frequency, management review minutes noting discussion of risk triggers and actions taken, updated risk monitoring procedure if new sources or triggers are identified. To complete this specific action item, you need to upload supporting evidence of your artifacts, records, or logs. For this same action item, compliance can be demonstrated by uploading new risk trigger review record. So this record shows that the importer conducted a formal review of all possible new risk triggers that could affect the safety of the imported dehydrated vegetables. It documents that FDA import alerts, recall notices, shipment reports, and supplier communication were checked during the review period. The findings show no new safety issues except for one supplier process, for which follow-up action was started. The record confirms that risks are being actively monitored, documented, and addressed during maintain FSBP compliance. So this is just an example of evidence of compliance for your action items. And your aim is to complete every compliance action item by uploading supporting documents and turn every no to a yes. So you are confident that you are compliant with the FSBP requirements. Next, let's go over to the annual review tab, which also serve as your gap assessment tool. So this tab is designed as an internal audit checklist in the form of a questionnaire, aligned with the FSBP requirements under 21 CFR Part 1 Subpart L. It lists all required annual review items to help you maintain compliance with the FSBP requirements. For the FSBP 1.507 Import Food Hazard Program, Your annual review or internal audit may include questions such as: has a qualified individual determined the required verification activities? Are all determinations signed and dated by a QI? Is hazard severity and likelihood evaluated for each supplier or product? Is it documented whether the supplier controls the hazard directly? Are supplier certifications considered in the decision? Is supplier performance history reviewed? Are other risk factors considered? Is a specific verification activity assigned per supplier? Is the frequency of verification based on risk and not routine or arbitrary? Is a written rationale provided for both the activity and the frequency? Is a verification activity and frequency log maintained in current? Are non-conformances or new safety information triggering reevaluation? Are supplier changes triggering reevaluation? Are frequency reduced only when justified by documented improvements? Are verification frequencies increased when risk or performance declines? Are all determination reviewed at least once every 3 years? Are revision and their rationals documented and signed? Are records retained at least 2 years and FDA retrievable? Does the system demonstrate risk-based decision making, not checkbox compliance? Can the importer provide objective evidence of all determination on request? So let's take one annual review item as an example and see how compliance is demonstrated. For instance, the question might be: are all determinations signed and dated by a QI? Let's check on the work instruction on how to complete this annual review item. So step one is to verify completeness of QI approvals. For the activity, review all supplier verification determination records to confirm that each determination has a qualified individual signature and date of approval. Ensure no record is missing QI authorization before being implemented. Identify any unsigned or undated determination and escalate to the FSQA manager for immediate correction or corrective action. For the artifacts or records, QI signed verification determination form, verification activity and frequency determination log, supplier risk clarification log, supplier verification approval checklist. Step two is to check authenticity and version control of signature. For the activity, confirm that all signatures correspond to authorized QIs listed in the current QI designation matrix. Ensure that digital or electronic signatures comply with the site's document control and e-signature policy. Validate that version control records reflect the latest approved determination. For the artifacts, QI designation matrix, control copy of supplier verification program, electronic signature compliance statement or policy, version history or change control records. Third is to confirm dates are logical and sequential. For the activity, check that QI signature are dated after the supplier evaluation review, but before implementation of verification activities. Ensure no post-dated approvals or backdated entries exist that could invalidate compliance. If discrepancies are identified, document and initiate corrective action. For the records, supplier evaluation summary, verification implementation log, internal audit trail, or data verification record, CAPA form for documentation corrections. Fourth is to maintain traceability of QI approved records. For the activity, ensure that each sign in data determination can trace to its supporting evaluation documents such as hazard analysis, supplier histories, and risk assessments. Maintain all QI approved determinations in controlled files accessible for audit and regulatory review. For the records, cross-reference matrix linking QI determination to 1.505 evaluation, controlled folder or digital repository of signed determination forms, record retention tracker, index of supplier verification decisions. 5 is to verify ongoing oversight during internal audits and management review. For the activity, include verification of QI signature and approval dates in internal audit checklist and management review agendas. Summarize compliance status and trends to ensure full traceability and adherence to FISMA requirements. For the artifacts, internal audit checklist, referencing QI authorization, internal audit report or finding summary, management review minutes, highlighting QI compliance status, continuous improvement, or CAPA tracking sheet. To show compliance, you need to upload evidence of compliance, and here is the example, the QI signature verification record. So these records demonstrate that the importer verified all required FSBP determination were signed and dated by the qualified individual. It confirms that hazard analysis, verification plans, corrective action, and reassessment were completed with proper QI authorization, ensuring compliance with regulatory requirements. This is just an example of how to complete a specific assessment by providing evidence of compliance. Then again, your goal is to turn the status of every annual review questionnaire from no to yes to help you measure compliance progress while also preparing your products and facility for a potential FDA inspection or audit. At this time, you may now post your question in the chat box, and please note that all inquiries will be reviewed to ensure each question is properly addressed. We will cover this question in detail during next week training session. In the meantime, while some of you might be typing your questions, we are inviting you to join our other free certification familiarization training sessions held every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday at 11 o'clock in the morning and 2 o'clock in the afternoon Central Time. And please note that the CGMP training is scheduled separately at 1 o'clock in the afternoon every Tuesday. These sessions covered various topics, including FSSC 22000 certification, SQF certification, BRCGS certification, FDA food code, and 21 CFR parts 117 and 111 under CGMP for human food and dietary supplements. The sessions are open to everyone, so feel free to invite colleagues or acquaintances in the food industry to join this free training by sharing the Zoom meeting link with them. You may also schedule a one-on-one FSBP coaching session for personalized support with your specific FSBP requirements. This concludes our training session on FSBP 1.507 Import Food Hazard Program, and your training certificates will be sent directly to your registered email addresses. And we invite you to join us again next week as we discuss our next topic, 1.508 Corrective Actions Program. For those who have not filled up the free certification familiarization sign-up form, please feel free to do so and specify if you wish to get a 90-day free software. And the software provides access to compliance dashboard, training management tools, customer and supplier requirements management, and digitized forms, ideal for those transitioning from a paper-based to a paperless system. If you have any questions, clarification, or feedback regarding today's training, Please don't hesitate to reach us at hello@consultorinc.com. Thank you so much for your participation, and we wish you a pleasant day ahead.